Okay, we hope this sounds better than this one. I'll leave that elections one up with the UK elections up. The last one, sound wasn't that good, but it's okay, probably good enough. Uh, I'm going to go back in time. I'll have a little bit of a preview first. I'm going to talk about sexy people, supposedly, who I don't think are sexy at all. A handful of them. Go back in time to 2006, a show called 20 to 1, which is on Australian television, a countdown show. We used to go from 20 to 1, obviously. Originally hosted by Bud Tingwell, who was 82 at the time. Rather silly choice that. Then they dragged out old Bert Newton, who wasn't much better, but a little bit better than poor old Bud, who died about 10, 12 years ago, or 15 years ago. And Bert Newton, who's also dead now. They had a countdown. November 2006. It was 20 to 1 sexiest people. And it was a complete disaster. It was just an absolutely shocking list, mostly, and it was absolutely terrible. All these lecherous old rock stars and pop stars were in the sexiest males category. I think there was 10 of each. I can't remember a lot of them, but I do remember Gene Simmons was in it. Repulsive, hideous, grotesque, diseased, syphilitic. Sleazebag, very sleazy and nasty person, that guy. And, Mick Jagger, Tom Jones, I think another really sleazy, horrible person in showbiz. Ugly too. He's ugly. He looks like Bob the Swinger from that 70s show. Bad crew there. I think I might have just mentioned that briefly in another thing. I won't talk about it now. Danny Masterson, bad guy. And Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. And Masterson's wife. I can't remember her name. Very bad crew there. Really bad. But 20 to 1 was a complete disaster. And no David Beckham either. Complete disaster that was. It was horrendous. It was just like something. Harry M. Miller, I think, was involved in that, the surveys. Oh, boy. Just had a drink of cordial. Yeah, Harry M. Miller, I think, was involved in that, doing the surveys. Or at least creating the lists, and it was just horrendous. Just all these horrendous, ugly old men. Just that women sleep with. Don't know how you could sleep with it. Doesn't matter how famous you are, Gene Simmons or Tom Jones. Mick Jagger. Yeah, so that was sort of the inspiration for me. And also the right wings, the right-wing mongoloids are getting very worked up about a woman called Sydney Sweeney. And I don't know much about her. I haven't seen her in anything, to be honest. They're going crazy over her tits. And yeah, their fun bags are driving them crazy. And I don't know, they're big, but they're not real big. Seasoned tit men, as I said, know that she's not anywhere near the elite tier for that, and she's sort of a bit ugly too. I don't think she's much at all. A few other women I've never really. I never got the go of Anna Kournikova, the tennis player, Russian. Remember that? In the 90s, early 2000s. A lot of people went crazy. Snowy Wilkinson. She came on TV, and Snowy Wilkinson, Gary Wilkinson, the old guy who's Channel 7 tennis, he could barely breathe. He couldn't even breathe. He's so sexually excited over her. And one of the linesmen missed. She was bending over right in front of him. He missed a ball, and it was way out. And she was bending over at the back of the court, and the linesman obviously looking up, what's in her tight little things. And she had a nice body, obviously, because she's an athlete. Stacey Dragila had a nice body, the pole vaulter. I'd say a very attractive sort of physical. Some of them are, really muscular and masculine, bit over the top, not really attractive to the typical man. But Cornucova was sort of a bit potato faced, I'd say. Not really someone who I think she never won a singles tournament. She did win. She's quite good at the doubles. I looked at the Wikipedia last week, and she won a few with Martina Hingis, the Swiss Miss. She was a brat. She was doing a lot of cocaine, and she had a real mad turn at French Open because she was full of coke. Like Mike Tyson went berserk that time. Get him a straight jacket. That fella, yeah, very brave. He apologised. That's a suicide mission. I'll put your mud in a straight jacket, you white punk ass white boy, etc., etc. You can see that Mike Tyson get him a straight jacket, and so Cornucova worked Snowy up, but she's a nice athletic figure, but a lot of them do not much to get excited about. Cornucova, she had that sort of Russian sort of potato face. Looked alright with a bit of makeup, but nothing to get excited over. And Gal Gadot, I don't know about her. She sort of looks okay, but she's sort of got a bit of a wide, flat, sort of big sort of plate face a little bit in some of the things. She's sort of like a mixture. A lot of the Israelis are mixtures of Ashkenazi and Mizrahi and Sephardic. So she's dark. Don't know. She's okay, but I don't really sort of think. She doesn't do much for me. Yeah, I'll go into the men. We'll go into no homo territory, but yeah, like those guys. Brad Pitt is one I never really understood. I never thought he was that good looking. I'll say it straight out. The big flary nostrils. Those big flary nostrils. My mum was an ABBA fan, and my aunt said about the guy, the blonde-haired guy, who didn't have a beard back in the 70s and early 80s. She said he could drive a bus up his nostrils. And that's what I say, but Pitt has the same. He's got sort of a wide, sort of flat face too. He's buff usually. But plenty of blokes are buff and ugly too. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's that attractive. Yeah, I never saw it. I just never saw it with Brad Pitt. Yeah. Guy Pearce is in the news. I thought he was better looking than Russell Crowe in LA Confidential. That was a big movie here. Had two Australians in the lead roles. They weren't really know. That's broke Russell big in Hollywood. Yeah, and Guy Pearce, who was out of Neighbours and a couple of small Australian films. They had two Australian guys in the lead things in the 1997, I think that came out. Roughly 1996, 97. That was a big deal in Australia because we had big stars out of Australia before, but in the two in the lead role, was sort of a little bit of a breakout too. There was Rod Taylor, Daddio, and various others. Errol Flynn, and he's a sick guy, and Brad Pitt's apparently a real sicko. Lots of reports of him terrorising his kids. He might need to be dealt with, I think, and bit like what's his name? He sang the song Bing Crosby. Um, yeah, there's a joke about that on Family Guy about him hitting his kids with the bags of oranges. Drunken Irishman. Bing Crosby played a big role in the development of the cassette. I think that was probably his main thing, and his movies. Bob Hope was a bad guy too. He was a bad wife abuser, apparently, according to the stories that you read all sorts of things about various people. Aella Confidential had the sort of progenitor of the tacky sort of tabloid stuff. That was Confidential was the thing. Lots of stuff about Hollywood stars. I can't mention Rock Hudson, what James Elroy said in a documentary, but it's sort of putting like a lollipop in his mouth, but it's not a lollipop. If you can understand where I'm getting. So there's a lot of sexy, supposedly people who I don't really think of that sexy. And I just reminded, I was thinking about that. I think about it occasionally. One of those few shows that I think about, sort of thing, just absolute disaster. Gene Simmons, sexy. He's so just grotesque and disease-ridden, sexually transmitted diseases. Yeah, I don't know. They just sleep with anything, won't they? Some of these ladies, poor old Aella, she's that lady, doesn't bath much. She's sort of a bit of a meme figure now with her birthday activities. Very weird, autistic sort of lady. She sort of suffered a lot. I sent her a thing to have a date because I was being nice to sort of women, and yeah, I don't think I should have sent that because she had that stalker person. I've been accused of stalking, and I can't go into that now because I deleted the videos with that lady. Some women sort of take a sign of kindness for a sign of weakness, and sort of think you're a bit of a battering. What's the word? A whipping boy. That's the word. Why did I not think of that? Don't want to go into that now, but yeah, some of those people on the Discord are a little bit gnarly. Some of them don't like sort of my things. A lot of these sort of they them pronouns, polyamorous, sort of sexually promiscuous sort of people. The women, the sexually promiscuous women, didn't like me. They never liked me. And sort of the rough, sort of bogan style slapper women, I sort of never really got on with him. There's something about me that they don't like. They could probably sense the autism, see? Probably, yeah, I don't know, something in their little minds. Aella says she never baths. She doesn't take a bath. She showers, I think, every 9 days or something like that. Very odd, hyper autistic woman. Unusual. She's sort of transferring herself sort of to data science and in with those not crypto. Yeah, there's a crypto guy on the Discord. Yeah, AI and various. What would describe their little clique over there? Silicon Valley. A little sort of clique and a lot of polyamorous and high end prostitutes. don't like these people, these transgender propagandists. Transhumanist agenda. I was going to write a little thing about that on the Substack, I think. What the real thing is behind that. It's not very good. Don't mind. Think transgenderism has been around a long time, but not in this sort of fashion. Not in this thing of kids and the men going into women's change rooms and women's prisons and women's sport. All really bizarre and twisted, and for Gropey Joe Biden, that's disqualifying. He supports transing children. That's automatically disqualifying for anyone. And the Pritzker family, a very rich, powerful group of people, are behind it. One of them is a transgender. Gets her out in a dress, I think. They're big in the Democratic Party. Very bad sort of. They're the driving force globally. I think that Pritzker family, the oligarchs, they're the driving force in the Democratic Party globally. Gropey Joe Biden. Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. Old Gropey. Yeah, and I don't really like these people a lot. Yeah. These hypersexual people, I never got on well with these people. Richard Carrier, PhD, guy who reckons Jesus never existed. He was a bit of a thing. He's turned out to be, he's a polyamorous guy. I mentioned him earlier to them. He was my first thing with polyamory. He's in America. Never met him, of course. Lives in California, I think. He's hanging around with 18, 19-year-old girls. A camp there. Secular camp, I think. Yeah, there's a big court case with him and PZ Myers and the Free Thought blogs people. Big court case. He was all right to me, Carrier. He always sort of answered questions in the blog. He's always replied sort of politely and promptly to things rather than just ignore. And PZ Myers is a bit of an authoritarian. The clique, the SJW sort of Tumblr, wacko, transgender, social justice, red libs sort of types, rainbow flag types, that dominate his comment section, lunatics or sociopathic people. A lot of these transgender people are really mentally unstable and sociopathic, and it's liberals generally too. That fat lady, the fat anti-fat phobia, the milkshake lady, can't remember her name, ran the blog. Her husband was an investment banker. I can't remember. If I remember it, I'll put it in the comments. They're the one that thought that Hillary Clinton was going to come around and have a beer with her. Pretty rich people, the sort of people that old Hillary would hang around with. Her husband, I didn't know that, is an investment banker, and this guy had no money, and she was haranguing him in the comments to give them money. Sort of browbeat him, guy with no money, to donate to the blog, the thick shape blog. This big fat woman, that's sort of bourgeois feminism, sort of people that run the Democratic Party. Very rich people now. It's 87 out of the 100 richest counties in the USA voted Democrat. 90% roughly in Manhattan and District of Columbia, Washington. It's a party of the rich people now. Very sociopathic, evil, twisted. They pretend to love blacks and gays and that, but they don't really. That's to differentiate themselves from the Republicans. Uh, yeah, rich Americans, just the dregs of the earth. Evil, evil people. And Aella, this lady, she's hanging around with all the rich people. Venture capitalists and tech bro sort of type people. She is very pro transgender too. Like Brianna Wu, the individual person who was in Gamergate, millionaire, got a lot of cars, see the profile pic on the Twitter, and yeah, Graham Linehan was posting about her parole glitter. I'm seeing, yeah, I won't talk about that too much. She's, this Aella woman is a bit sort of damaged, not having a go, but she's sort of got a lot of trauma, but she's sort of working it out in a little polyamorous and sex worker, prostitute, and OnlyFans and streaming. Sex work is work. Now that's a thing, that's a pro thing, but that's just how it is, isn't it? You can't say, I'll make a point that's not the demeaning. Well, it's demeaning you sort of have some sort of retard sort of brat come in 11 o'clock at night at the McDonald's and sit there on the minimum wage in the fucking McDonald's or Hungry Jack's. Some cunt, drunken cunt comes in and sort of gets aggressive with you. But that's demeaning too. A lot of work is demeaning. Work by in itself is probably demeaning, so it doesn't mean anything. It's not sort of real good, probably. But the cam girls and that's sex work too. That doesn't hurt anyone, does it? There's no thing. This trafficking thing is bad, but deal with that. And the only fans are individual sort of contractors, mostly not really being exploited. The men are exploited too. The users are exploited for their excessive urges. So she's found a little niche there, that Aella lady, and she's extremely autistic like me. So I thought we might go on a date, but probably not so much because I thought it'd be a sex-free date. But because I thought she was getting a lot, but she's not getting as much as I thought she was. She's going a long way, like that. What's a girl on the net? Another one I had a sort of a fight with. Gave her money and she cut it off. Try to be nice. This is what I mean. The women take a sign of kindness for a sign of weakness. That's a little bit how they are, frankly. Some of them, certain type of them, yeah. Don't know what's wrong with them. The rise of the femcell. She's the pole dancing accountant lady was sort of a bit of a femcell. Naella's a little bit like that too. She's not indulging in sort of horizontal refreshment as much as what I thought. So it wouldn't be a real good thing anyway. I could be an interesting sort of anthropic, anthropic specimen. As an interesting sort of psychopathic specimen for her to study. I'd make a good study, and that's what I thought. Be good to hear for hypersexual sort of people to um, integrate a little bit more, interact with the sort of non-sexual, mostly asexual sort of people like me, because they're very intolerant. I think hypersexual people, the poly people, and sexual sort of deviants, the transgenders, the rainbow flag people are very intolerant of are less successful sexual people, sexually successful, and they probably could do with a little bit of tolerance, be a little bit more tolerant of people who are different, because they are intolerant. A lot of these people are very intolerant of sort of masculine, sort of old-fashioned sort of type of masculine, hyper-masculine men like me, sort of vol-cell or incel or just plain non-cell, fem-cell people. Um, they, these are intolerant people. But they're not going to get rid of me until I get banned. I try to be as nice as possible and very, very aggressive, some of them, to people with different worldviews. But that's sort of what you'd expect from American sort of liberal SJW sort of types and Antifa. Their way is the only way. There's no dialectic there. It's authoritarian. And we've seen that in the last 4 years. So, yeah, I don't know whether to think. I did send that Aella lady an email withdrawing the thing, but maybe it would be a good thing. Underneath, she seems like a nice person. She's got a lot of estrogen, I think. That's probably where the hypersexuality comes from. And the other stuff that I can't mention. So we're sort of very similar in some ways and very different in other ways. It'd be, she could get a blog piece out of me, or even an academic paper if she moves. If she ever moved into proper academic stuff, I'd be an interesting little specimen, for want of a better word. So maybe we'll keep the options open. Maybe if she heads down under, maybe a date might happen. That'd be a very weird situation. But it's a very weird world.